Hello and welcome to Northside Now. This is the podcast where your three lovable hosts take you on a tour through all of the ministries and the latest happenings around Northside Church to keep you better connected with your church family. I'm one of your hosts, Patrick, and with me, as always, is Glenn Miller and Kevin Bryant.
Aloha, dudes.
Que pasa?
Cowabunga. Wait.
Important rule of podcasting and radio work is don't get a big full mouth of ice as you're starting.
And don't inhale at the same time.
I know.
Get choked up.
I mean, that's just a good rule. Even if you're not
That's
podcasting,
good life,
just
life rule. Yeah.
don't inhale ice.
Exactly.
Yeah, not a good thing to do there.
Hey, you know what song was in my head when we just started?
Summer lovin'.
No,
Oh.
that's a good one. Summertime, 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 summertime.
Pretty crazy.
Summer is here.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo.
Hopefully you don't have the summertime blues.
Or the summertime reds.
Yeah.
With a big bad sunburn.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I've already had a little sunburn.
Yeah.
Just a tad, but just enough to go, oh no, it's time to get sunburnt. So.
Well, early in the season when it's deceptively cool,
Yeah.
but it's real sunny is when it generally happens for me. But I haven't had anything, knock on wood, yet.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I
trying
apparently stay inside too much. I've got my porcelain white skin.
yeah, but you do have a little bit of shade
You do
on
have a
your
little
face.
color, yeah.
You got your beard that's
Yeah,
shading.
that's
everything, So natural sunscreen.
Well, you do need to go ahead and tan on up because somebody, and it's not me or Kevin, that'll be taking some honeymoon action this year. You want to be nice and tan for the pics, man.
That's true. I've never been nice and tan in my life, so it'd be a first. I need to hit up Suntan City or something. Get a little extra.
Or you could just spray tan.
I could just spray tan.
Yeah, you could do that.
Go Vols.
That's actually pretty good, Joe Balls.
Yes.
Well, have y'all been trying to get to Arkansas lately?
Nope.
No.
Have you heard about the bridge?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the Tennessee River Bridge, and my family, the girls, you know, we travel so much from Texas to here and back and forth for so many years. It was always get to the Tennessee Bridge, and one, you were either on your way for real, or two, you were almost home. And so and I just can't imagine the traffic and the issues. I don't even want to go to Memphis for any reason right now. I wasn't even sure I'd take a helicopter down
Stay
there.
far, far away unless you absolutely have to, because
Poor Memphis.
Because which I'm sure everybody listening knows, the I-40 bridge has been down due to a crack in it, and they've been working on it and supposed to get it fixed sometime soon.
That beam split like clean in half. I don't know if y'all saw a picture.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's been there for a long time. So the question is, so what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering, why can't you just keep going?
Yeah.
I mean, how many people have been traveling that
Well,
bridge?
the wrong person saw it and freaked out about it.
And I'm not saying it shouldn't be safe, but I
Yeah.
guess my point is,
But it's the
Safety's relative anyways.
I don't know.
It's one of the most traveled roads on the whole earth.
I know.
And not much less the United States. I mean, it's just
I-40
crazy.
is the
Yeah.
big thing, you know.
Saying traffic in Memphis was never, great to begin with. So
And it's not been great for the last couple of years here in Jackson. So poor people traveling from like up in the Northeast are like, yeah, we're going west, and all of a sudden we go through Jackson, and guess what happens when you get to Memphis? You got to go a completely different way.
Yep. But you said something earlier about travel just starting or ending. I remember the last time I went to West Texas, which has been a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
But you cross the bridge in Memphis, you still got forever
You still got like 2 or 3 days to get to West Texas.
to get to the other side of Texas.
Well, we've
'Cause it's
all
just
been
so
to West
huge.
Texas from here.
Yeah.
Because y'all
Yeah.
did the same thing.
Yeah, we
on y'all's
did.
little trip. That's a long ways out
It is
there.
just amazing how big that place is.
basically you hit I-40 and you stay I-40 until
I know. I know.
Well, Texas, in 7th grade, every child in Texas has to go through, it was a year, I don't know if it still is, of Texas history.
Uh-huh.
And you learn in Texas history that from Texarkana to, I may have forgotten this, but I think it's Texarkana to Chicago, and from El Paso to Los Angeles, those are the same distances
Is it really?
as Texarkana to El Paso.
That makes some sense when you think about it. It is so deceptively huge.
It is.
It just
we
blows
drove
your mind.
across. This was back in 2019. We drove across Texas. We went through Texas to like New Mexico and then up to Arizona and did a little out west trip. And it takes a while to drive through Texas from one end to the other.
Texas has counties bigger than Rhode Island.
I believe that. Rhode Island's not super huge.
No,
though.
but you stop. I don't know how many other states. You stop. Just
right.
wrap that around your brain. You know?
That's exactly right. Speaking of summer, what I was thinking about this, we were coming out of last year where a lot of vacations didn't happen. Some people don't take vacations, but a lot of people do.
Yeah.
What would be your best in the U.S. destination for summer vacation?
For me, I would love to hit Glacier, Yellowstone, and Yosemite.
Yeah.
National parks.
Yeah, I'm a bit jealous of Pastor Don.
Yeah, me too.
He's after his last Sunday, he's heading out west. He's going to check out Yellowstone.
Yeah.
So
Would love to do that.
hopefully that super volcano doesn't erupt while he's out there.
Right.
What about you?
I've been there. Let's see. Goodness, it's been many, many years ago. I think it was 91. So I've seen them, and you definitely should see them once.
Yeah.
At least. It was funny. We did that in the summer, and when you're up in Glacier, it's snowing and it's icy, and all that stuff in the middle of summer. And then you drive, I can't even remember how many miles either direction, and it's not. So just seeing that kind of stuff is really, really cool. And so I would probably pick a park somewhere. I'm not sure, though. I would like to go to Alaska.
Yeah.
In the summer.
Yeah, that's the time to go.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
We were supposed to go to Alaska last summer with some friends from Texas and didn't make it because other stuff going on, COVID.
Yep.
But part of that was to make that little trip too. And I'm just dying. When we were in the Serengeti in Africa a couple years ago, everybody kept going, man, this looks a lot like Wyoming.
Yeah.
I've never been to Wyoming. I've been on the West Coast, but never up in that Northwest area. And I'm like, I've got to go to Wyoming. I mean, because the Serengeti is one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. And if Wyoming's anything like that, we may be selling a house if anybody wants to buy one.
Well, for those of us in Tennessee, I mean, parts of Tennessee can be totally different from each other.
Oh, completely.
There's some that is super flat, and then some that obviously in the east it's very hilly, and in Nashville area it's actually pretty hilly too. But The Chosen is supposed to represent the Middle East, and it's being shot in Utah.
A lot of it's been shot in Texas too.
Texas,
Yeah.
Kansas,
So-
I think even.
And when I remember driving through, we were just talking about Texas, how big it was. Montana's the same way.
Yeah.
Just you get on, I think it's I-90, maybe whatever is up on the northern tier, and you just drive, and it's straight and it's flat all to the left and the right, and you can see the Rocky Mountains in the distance. But you just see them for days and days, it seems like, because they never get bigger or, they just stay out there. That's a really cool thing to watch where you can see storms in the distance. And, we
experienced some of that when we went out west because we went to Monument Valley and we were like, oh, there it is. We're getting close. No, we've still got 100 miles to go.
And Monument Valley is beautiful too.
Oh, it's fantastic.
There are two different kinds of beauty, but man, it's pretty cool.
But it was it was like you could see it, but you're still like hours away,
Yeah. And, it's just you cannot replace that kind of natural beauty. And of course, God created all that stuff, but from the Grand Canyon to, the Rocky Mountains to seeing, most of us have been to a beach at some point, but seeing the West Coast, whether it's Oregon and down the California coast, is just seeing seals out on the. We were blessed to be able to take a family trip in 91 where we started here, obviously in Jackson, and then went up through Iowa and South Dakota. We saw Mount Rushmore and all that. We didn't see everything, but we took 4 weeks and we actually went up to Washington, the very tip in Port Angeles of Washington, down through California, and then back through Texas and up through. We went to Mexico for one day. Back then it was Juarez, but you wouldn't want to go there now, probably.
No.
But and San Antonio, and
Yeah.
it's just so much stuff. And I'm hoping sometime, it may be a few years, but with my kids, to be able to just show them the natural wonder of the U.S. We talk about, well, I'm going to go to Africa, or I want to go to Australia someday, or whatever. And there's those same kinds of climates and landscapes in the United States that you can experience too. And there's just, I think a few podcasts ago, we talked about more people going to national parks and things. There's just so much you could see.
Yeah. I'm way more interested in going to see something God created than I am something man created.
There's something to be said for that.
Way more interested. It's
sure.
way more beautiful. And, my other great thing would be just to be able to go and see the Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights, to actually really see them good.
Yep.
That would be, that's some miraculous type stuff, and it's not a big monster. I mean, it's the sun, the horizon. So it's pretty simple. It happens every day, but
it's pretty cool though.
But it is amazing, so.
Back a few years ago, I was kind of taking stock with life and making some big career changes and other changes. And I set this goal for me that I would love to visit all the continents in 10 years. Well, that hasn't happened, but I've been to quite a few, but I would love to just at least see what Antarctica's about.
Yeah.
Never been able to go to the east, so Japan or Australia, those kinds of things. It can be fairly expensive and a lot of time to get there.
Oh yeah.
But I would just love. I just love traveling, just to be able to expperieence.
Elizabeth got to go to Japan a couple of years ago.
Did she really?
Yeah, I'm like super jealous because she would just send me pictures and I'd be like, oh.
Yeah, exactly.
But I want to go to the old Japan thing. I mean, it just sounds a little corny, but it's like the things you saw in like samurai and ninja movies and stuff.
Oh yeah, they're like feudal Japan.
Yeah, versus the modern day cities part of it.
Well,
I want to see the old parts of it.
Yeah, she spent some time in Tokyo, which is the modern Japan.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. But then she also went with her friend, and they went to some old castle ruins and to some Buddhist temples and stuff, and like saw the culture, and it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I would love to do some of that. The Oriental areas have always been of interest to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Antarctica would be cool though too, because what time is it down there?
What time is it?
Yeah.
What's their time zone?
How do you tell time in Antarctica? Because it's where all the time zones. It's like
a watch
the sun
or a
rises
clock?
The sun rises once a year and sets once a year. It's like 6 months it's dark and 6 months it's light. How do you tell time?
Yeah, but it's not like totally dark. It's just like mostly light. That's like partly cloudy or mostly cloudy. What's the difference?
Well, it's partly cloudy, I think.
Yeah, the sun sets once a year.
Yeah,
and it gets dark, and then it rises once a year, and it stays light for 6 months. I actually heard somebody else talking about this. They tell time in Antarctica. They just set their clocks to New Zealand because that's where most people come to Antarctica from.
Really?
And so because it's so hard, because it's kind of where all the time zones are meeting, it's hard to have their own time zone. So they just set all their clocks and stuff too, because there's not a whole lot of people in Antarctica.
Right.
So they just kind of sync all their stuff up with New Zealand because that's where most people are coming from.
Which is one of the reasons I want to go to see Glacier National Park, because many of the pictures I've seen from there look like the ones from from New Zealand. I would love New Zealand is on my bucket list for sure.
Oh, I've got a bucket list.
I know how you can see New Zealand.
How?
Watch The Lord of the Rings.
Oh, well, that's true.
That's true. The Lord of the Rings was the single greatest thing for New Zealand's tourism department. Let's be honest.
I'm telling you.
You can still go check out like all the Shire and all the Hobbit houses and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's been more than a couple of years ago. Several years ago, we went to North Carolina and did some hiking and was around where Mockingbird, Mockingjay, what was that? Hunger Games.
Oh, yeah.
And the girls wanted to go where PETA and Katniss had lunch, and we found that little waterfall area, and they were like, "This is where they had lunch."
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you can, with the way the film industry's blossoming, it's not necessarily a new thing, but fairly recent in Atlanta. you could go. I know there's tours where you can go see where this Marvel character did this thing, and it was actually supposed to be Nigeria, but it was downtown Atlanta. And it was just,
they do a lot of filming in Atlanta.
Yeah,
so
it has really grown as a.
It really has.
In Austin,
yeah,
and Chicago, those three have really taken on a big chunk of filming.
It's just a matter of where the governments are willing to, give out perks, make it cheaper for them to produce it. They're going to come there.
Well, so many things were being shot in New York, and then, people still wanted that big city feel, but didn't want to have to pay to film in New York.
Right.
So,
yeah, that'd be kind of fun though to be, on summer vacation, and all of a sudden who was that? TJ King maybe, and was in the middle of like the who's Megatron? Transformers, Transformers movie they were doing in Chicago or something like that. Yeah, so he was like, it was fun. I just sat there and watched it for a while, and
that's kind of cool.
Just kind of had a big time. It was totally unexpected, So
being on a movie set is fun to watch.
Yeah,
it really is. If you can get close enough to be able to see stuff happen, the equipment move around and the actors move at a certain time, and hearing the action, and it is cool experience to do.
I've been on a couple of TV sets and big movie sets, but they were like in a stadium and you were in the crowd.
Right.
So you were the laugh track.
Yeah, basically. And so, but yeah.
Which movie was it? Because I think I heard you.
Any Given Sunday.
Oh, I saw you in that.
I was there. It was the same spot I was whenever Garth Brooks did his music video there.
Yeah.
It was almost in the same section.
You could be TikTok famous.
Texas Stadium.
Elizabeth's family was in the stands when they filmed that Safety movie. I don't know if y'all have seen that on Disney Plus. It's about the Clemson Tigers. Huh. It's actually really good. But they were in the stands when they filmed the big final game.
Very cool.
That's cool.
I remember the safety dance.
That's exactly the same thing.
Well, and Kevin, you talked about TikTok and dancing now. So what do you think will be the big TikTok trends of dancing? Could you bring the safety dance to TikTok this summer?
I'm sure. Yes. I'm sure everything old becomes new again.
Eventually, yeah.
And it's probably already been done, but I don't realize it, It's one of those things that I seem to be late to the party. Sometimes.
It does make it. It is interesting how people will like, oh, they got a new song, and your kids come up and tell you, oh, listen to this great song, and and then you realize that song was done in the 70s.
That's right.
No, they wrote it. It was just the greatest song in the world. Here, listen to this.
Oh, I know. But that's what makes summer fun.
Yeah, summer's good.
What happens? I was going to ask you this. At the church during the summer, everything shuts down, right?
Well, no, actually not. And typically we do
actually a petition
musical.
I'm starting.
Some churches do. Some churches pretty much close down.
Know.
Northside, we kind of keep going. It is weird to be in the early part of summer and not be working on a musical that's about to happen in 10 minutes. And so that's kind of weird. I will tell you what's going to happen this summer at this church. It won't happen here on the property, but with some of our youth, we are taking them frog gigging.
Oh,
I heard about this. I wondered if that was coming up.
We are going to be doing some frog gigging this summer with some of the guys. And let me tell you something. I am never been more stoked in my life, to use an old term. Some of these guys have never, done anything like that at all.
Let's be honest. I've never been frog gigging
either.
Oh,
goodness. Patrick's got to go.
You know what? And I'm ashamed to say
my goodness.
What
this is about to be a podcast.
But
podcast.
Isn't that where you just walk around and you stick some frogs with a spear?
In Texas, we used to get the high school boys from the church, and we'd go frog gigging over the evening. And then the next morning for Sunday school, we would fry the frog legs for breakfast, because frog legs is a breakfast food as well.
Delicious.
And so we would do that for the girls. And, of course, when you fry frog legs, they muscle reactions, and they jump around and stuff. And because there's that real fast twitch muscle fiber.
Yes.
The girls would gross out, but they did eat them. But the guys, it was some of my most favorite memories with any youth stuff I've done over the summers. And we're going to frog gig this year.
Now, everybody out there, help educate me. So I want you to text in and tell me if you've ever been frog gigging. But is that that's like a traditional Southern thing, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I would think so.
I would imagine.
I would think the bullfrog is a major up north kind of thing. I wouldn't think so.
My family is mostly from up north, if you can't tell, but I don't ever remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
Even though I grew up in the South, so I don't know where I missed it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've heard of it. I've just never actually been. I grew up in the suburbs. Okay, leave me alone.
So what's the gig come from? Why gigging?
Well, you use like a long pole, and actually a bamboo pole works good.
And that's called a gig?
But on the end of it, there's 2 or 3 kinds of gigs. The 2 gigs that I'm the most aware of, one is just kind of a spear. It looks a little bit like a trident, and you just spear the frog right behind his eyes and across the back. The other is a gig type thing that's called a clamp. It's a clamp. And so you open it up, and when you press it down on them, of course, it has a little trigger type thing, and it clamps them. So it clamps around them, and it doesn't really hurt them, I don't guess, but and they're going to end up as food anyways. But but yeah, you shine a light on them, and if you shine a light on a bullfrog's eyes and just keep it on them,
it kind of stuns it.
It kind of stuns it, and so you come up behind them with that. Now, the stuff we don't tell the kids is like there's water moccasins and stuff like that too. Another water snakes and stuff.
Hey, parents, I promise this is totally safe.
Yes,
well, it is. You think about it, you got a long stick, about 10 feet long with a spear on the end, so it is safe, until you. I mean, one time me and some friends in college went with shotguns.
I was just going to say there had to be firearms involved.
That's more dangerous than water moccasins. Let's be honest.
That was fun though. But that's just what we did. We grew up doing that kind of stuff.
It does sound like it's just like, yeah, it sounds.
I mean,
fun.
it's just like cow tipping or anything else like that.
Another thing
I've never done that either.
Yeah, cow tipping was a summer
now,
ritual.
If we want to talk about cow tipping, we probably need to get Elizabeth in here.
Yeah, actually Elizabeth and I have had cow tipping conversations before.
Yeah, she grew up around cows, so yeah, she's done all that.
And snipe hunting. Have you ever snipe hunted? Come on. You got to go snipe hunting. It's a real bird. You know that?
I believe you.
No, seriously, look it up on the dictionary.
Man, I walked into a bird war.
Michael Snipe, wasn't he a member of REM?
Oh,
that's Stipe.
Stipe, I think. Yeah. No, I walked into there was some sort of territorial dispute going on between some birds at my apartment complex the other day, and I walked outside into the middle of this bird brawl that was happening. Yeah, walked out and there was just a bird sitting on the stairs, just traumatized. Didn't even run away when the dog tried to eat it. But yeah, there were birds going crazy out there.
Dive bombing each
other, hitting the ground and rolling and keeping going, and they were fighting in the air. And there were probably 8 or 10 of them out there, and they were flying between 3 different trees. It sounded like a war.
Summer is the season for wildlife.
I mean, they were probably mating, but it didn't look that way.
Chief recently got introduced to 2 blue jays that must have a nest.
Oh, really?
In a tree by our house, and they did not like him getting nowhere near that tree.
No.
And blue jays are pretty tough.
Yeah.
Yes.
He sees it as lunch, I think.
Well, he was
or something to play with at least.
Yeah, they were.
Is that a squeaky toy that's flying around?
Speaking of animals, I don't even know why this popped into my head, but a friend of ours went to a express oil change place.
Yeah.
And they found a hedgehog, groundhog in the engine compartment.
Oh my God.
Oh no, that's where Bill Murray left it.
He was told to get rid of it.
Yeah. So. But I mean, you hear of all that a lot.
Did he see his shadow?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
Phil,
hoping at that point he
folks,
wasn't alive, but I'm not sure. Cats like to crawl up on wheels and in engine compartments, especially in the winter when it's cold. Squirrels.
Jordan had some squirrels get into his engine and eat all of
it can
the
happen.
Insulation off of stuff. And stuff
snakes will do it too. Snakes will crawl up there.
Well, especially if you have a car sitting for a while.
Yeah.
Like all of 2020. Maybe. But or if you live out in the country.
Yeah. Nature will reclaim it.
Yes, it will end up being, if you leave it too long, an iron deposit in your backyard.
Yeah, that's true.
I know someone who's got that situation right now, even coming to mind. What else is summer for you guys? Family time, maybe? Some family time in there?
A little time off, family time. Lots of years it's been mission trips and church camps.
Yeah, so what does that look like for this year?
This year we'll be doing some local stuff. It was hard to plan ahead of time and not know. So we'll stay pretty local and regionally. at the end of the summer, we'll do a little mission fun trip. It will just be a few days long, but that's pretty much what we're gonna do this year. But
Are y'all doing the talk of the town thing?
we're gonna do talk of the
lunches?
town lunches, and we're gonna hit all the new places to eat in town, and just kind of gather there and eat. So, we'll do stuff like that, and a lot of pool parties, stuff like that.
Oh, yes, the pool. There was a person in the neighborhood who had the pool was always the popular place.
I did miss last year. I did miss kind of the church camp scene, and I'm kind of going to miss that this year too. And it just seems like it's been a while since we had a good church camp in a while. Of course, the last one we went to was at a student life camp down at the beach at Orange Beach. They do a good job. We'll be going again next year for that, but kind of just missed that. That's as close as what we have to revivals nowadays, I guess, in some ways for young people is church camp.
I remember mine, when I was younger, I didn't always love it because I went to it was more sort of a family, wasn't family camp, but it was our camp that I went to was in Indiana. It was sort of a family tradition kind of thing, but I didn't usually know a lot of people there because I lived in Tennessee and then went up there for the summer. And, but I do remember there were great experiences in terms of campfires and singing and games, and water was usually involved, beach and whatever. Sailing is what we got to do because they were on a lake. But that is definitely some good forming moments in, I think, a young person's life if you get the chance to do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and Barbie and I was born.
Wait, born? I mean, I hope you were born.
We was born.
Well, if
you just came into being.
Patrick hadn't discovered this yet because as we're recording this, he's not married yet. But we were married on June 4th. So our bonding together as a family happened on June 4th. So the summer has always meant anniversary and spending that time together. Of course, Mother's Day, then Father's Day, and those, Memorial Day, the different holidays, 4th of July. It's a good time to just get together with some friends and family and
barbecue,
and just celebrate. Barbecue. The smokers are about to open up at the house, and so I'm ready for that.
Warm enough to get outside and grill and
So doing those kinds of things are always big summertime deals because that tends to be a lot of people. I always joke that we needed to create a Destin or Pensacola or something. We need to put it like a Northside campus down there.
Ooh.
And I volunteer to be in charge of it.
Remote campus.
Because so many people end up down there,
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But
I wonder what.
I'll go be in charge of that campus. Y'all can.
Do you guys know, this is a good question since we're talking about summer. What was summer like in the Middle East or in Bible times?
Wow.
Because I feel like summer is somewhat of a made-up kind of thing, right? When people didn't work all year and they had summers off, or maybe it was just more because kids had summer off.
It fits between the school semesters. Yeah.
Well, and two, that's when a lot of crops were growing, especially in the South.
Right.
And so because it was between planting and harvest.
Good point.
And so you were doing other things during that time. So
so you had time to do other things, whereas in the other parts of the year you were stuck with farm work, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know. It's just something to think about.
Yeah.
I wonder what Jesus did for summer camp. That's one of the things we don't know much about in the Bible. Yeah. Did Jesus,
wash feet and
did Galilee have a good water slide,
But yeah, that's something that I don't know a whole lot about in terms of Middle Eastern culture.
I don't either.
I imagine it's different, but I'm just curious about.
That would be interesting to know.
Like a break time. It wouldn't necessarily have to be summer, but because in some obviously in equatorial places, it's rainy or dry.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily
hot
summer
or cold,
heat and cold winters.
It's like you get your rainy season.
That's exactly right. Yeah. But where we are, it's more temperate, so you've got those kinds of things. But
and I know, and again, going back to Texas with Texas history, we mentioned that earlier, is that developed in me a real interest in the Native American cultures and having some of that blood in me a little bit just helped peak all that.
Mm-hmm.
And so for them, their time off, quote unquote, was in the winter when they would stay in their lodges, stay in their teepees, and the weather wasn't necessarily best for hunting, for gathering and stuff. So their summertime for them was, they'd play, I think they created lacrosse and some games like that. But
a lot of it had to do with hunting, fixing your lodges, fishing, gathering stuff.
Working while you could be outside and then when
gathering
it got cold,
for the cold time.
That makes sense.
You couldn't get out. So I guess on this continent, it hasn't always been about playing around and taking a break. But and I wonder this year how much taking breaks will happen versus we got to catch up on stuff we didn't get to do in the last year.
Well, I know a lot of people are taking vacations because we've gotten quite a few RSVP cards that say, sorry, we're going to be out of town.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Apparently we picked a good weekend to go to the beach.
Well, it's for the weekend before. Well, it's the week going into the July 4th because July 4th is on a Sunday this year. And I wonder, we haven't heard anything about if there's going to be like a dinner on the grounds or anything exciting going on.
We're going to be, Elizabeth and I will be in Philadelphia on the 4th of July.
That'd be fun.
So we'll get to celebrate America's birthday in America's birthplace. So.
Are you going to try to hit up like a big fireworks display or
we're going to try to while we're there.
And don't they dress up in all the Revolutionary regalia and stuff?
I think there's definitely some
I'm
of
not
that.
sure how much they're going to do this year or not, but we're going to find out. That would be
cool to see. I would add that to my summer trip deal would be to go do a Revolutionary War tour. Really interested in that. Would be cool.
Yeah, the Northeast is a fun place to visit. There's tons of history.
Yeah.
There.
Well, Liz and I, neither of us had really spent much time up in New England, so that's kind of why we decided for our honeymoon, we're basically going to road trip. We're flying up to Maine, and then we're going to road trip our way back down and hit a bunch of different places. It's basically going to be like a vacation sampler tour, so we could say, hey, we want to come back here. Hey, we don't want to come back here. Let's put this on our list to check out.
We loved when we went to Maine. It was in the fall, so we got to see the colors. I don't know if it was quite at peak, but if you get a chance to go out, if you can go, it costs a little money, but to go out on a little lobster boat and see them pull traps and stuff,
that'd be really cool.
And then come back into port and
eat the lobster.
Eat it.
Oh my goodness!
I
am so jealous.
Such
of that.
a
I want
fun
to do
experience.
that so bad. I could lobsters.
Your new favorite place. So you go up there.
I would love to go up there.
And
do lobster.
So that's just the thing that there's so many different places in our country that are so different from one another, but in the same country.
Have you ever done the Niagara Falls and stuff like that?
No, I haven't.
Barbie and them did that when she was in high school one year and kind of went over to Canada. And we
did that when I was about.
So it was cool.
Oh, how old would I have been? Probably 9 or 10, somewhere around there. We went up to Niagara Falls and we went across to the Canadian side because it's supposedly is prettier on that side. But yeah, we got to go check that out. So
seems like I've run across videos or something where they are going to have to shut Niagara Falls sort of off for maintenance kinds of things.
Really?
Now, obviously they got to put the water somewhere, so they were talking about various different things that they could do. That's been a few years ago since I ran onto that. It could have just been one of those hypothetical things, but
was it last year that when that dude walked across the falls on the tightrope? Or was that year before?
Oh, I don't remember.
The last couple of years that guy did that. That was pretty crazy.
People have walked across tight ropes in lots of crazy places.
You'll never find me doing that.
No, me either.
So what are some of your favorite, I know at the first of the year, we always kind of spend a lot of time, getting in shape and we're going to read the Bible in a year and stuff. Do you, besides like at the end of summer as people getting ready for football season to kick back up or something, what renewal things do you find happening in your lives in the summertime when you have the time to think about that? Do you find yourself reading scripture or reading? I know summer reading programs are big, reading books and stuff, but we've been talking about mental health and different things in recent podcasts. So what kind of renewal type things do you do? Either one of you?
For me, I think it's always been a challenge because I've always worked in the summer.
Yeah.
I've never had a job where I had a break.
Yeah.
And so that is still consistently there. But I think what I would say in answer to your question would be the family time or the family trips we can take.
Yeah.
Now, for our family, if you know anything about us, there's a lot of us. So a lot of times it's just a trip to see family to Indiana or whatever. But the change in scenery, usually I always try and take some quiet time, even if it's just me driving while everyone else in the car is asleep, to sort of take stock and think about the year so far, and to sort of map out in my head a little bit where I want to go for the rest.
Yeah.
And it could be, quite often it is, where we're out in nature, sort of not distracted by other stuff. So it could be a long bike ride, or it could be camping or something like that.
Yeah, well, that was one of the things I was going to say was, well, when we had our conversation with Noreen, one of the things that she said was, nature can be very restorative.
Right.
Yeah.
And I like that because I find that to be very true. Just getting out and being able to spend some time in nature, I don't know, it does something for me. And between that and, I don't know, in the summer when things slowed down a little bit, I'd catch up on some sleep, which, let's be honest, getting a full night's sleep is definitely underrated. But and then, getting to catch up on some reading and things like that when I haven't really had the time to, because I love to read books, but I don't always have the time when I want to. So
Yeah.
And that I'm glad you brought that up, because trying to read a book is something that I have throughout my life had to read. I love reading, first of all, but I've had to refocus myself on doing it, setting aside time for it, because generally, after a day of work, I'm either tired or hungry or both.
my problem is every time I pick up a book to start reading, because I like to focus in on the book, whatever. My mind starts saying, I really should be doing this instead. I really should be doing this instead. And it's like, I need to fix this, or I need to put and so it's hard for me to enjoy reading the book even when I, do get a few minutes, because I'm thinking about all the things that are quote unquote more productive for me to be doing at that time. So
there's that. So it's just trying to make, again, and it's the same with Bible reading, make it a priority, make time for it, set aside time for it. And so that's usually coming out of a summer if anything's been improved, that's what's been improved.
Yeah. Both y'all talking, I'm just sitting there going in my head of going, we need a guy on here who can teach us how to get your to-do list actually done.
If
Like
you
the
can find
honey-do
somebody to
list?
help me.
My to-do list never ends, because you just add
seriously,
more
By
things
the time
to
you
it.
check one thing off, you got 3 more things on it.
So if you're listening to this and you actually can get your to-do list, your honey-do list, your whatever you want to dream up list finished, please contact us. We want you in here. American men and women, I'm sure, but I know for sure the guys need to know your secrets.
Well, I think one of the parts of that is to keep it small.
Yeah.
To make it bite-sized chunks, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, but the problem I have with that is if I don't list it, I will forget it.
Yeah.
So I have to make the whole list, and then it's so long you could never really accomplish it in one sitting. Yeah, it feels like it never ends. That's part of it.
Well, it's just like this morning, there was brand new house, right? So one of the cabinet doors in our bathroom is just dragging and doesn't really want to close all the way. And so slow close cabinet doors. So all it takes is a few moments with a little screwdriver to readjust it, right? So but I was sitting there thinking, I got to do that. It's one more thing to add to my head. I got to do that. I got to do this. I got to do that. In the morning, I don't have time to go, but it's the first time I recognize it. So, and you expect those things, but it just never ends. Yep. It should end. It should end at least for summer. So
just take a break for the summer. It's all fixed. No big deals. Right?
Well, denial doesn't help. We'll learn that from Ms. Noreen. So, well, Patrick, is there anything exciting going on around the church? I mean, we've talked about a lot of stuff lately, but
We got a summer full of stuff. Make sure you check out our website, check out our social medias. Well, we've always got stuff going on.
But that is a good point. It seems like churches always wait for us to tell everybody vocally what's going on. Patrick's done a good job. We got a great website now. We got good social media. They're doing little bulletins at church, so definitely pick those up and kind of tells you what's going on. And our staff's real good about communicating and letting you know what's happening and what's coming, and so all the different groups. So
Because Glenn, you've got your Northside students social medias where you put a lot of stuff for that. I know Christy's got the Intersection on Facebook, which is the children's ministry.
Yeah.
So
the Yams, the young adult ministry.
Yeah, the Yams.
Joy even has something, I think. So,
yeah. They started
the
their
Northside
monthly
Men's Fishing Fellowship has a Facebook page. I mean, a group. So there's a lot of stuff going on out there. So we are getting ready for a musical. Kevin knows a little something about it. Well, I guess we all do.
Production or some sort.
Yeah.
Right. There will be music in it, I believe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I think I've heard a rumor about some music. So
yeah, I mean, summer is a time to get kids involved in something.
Yeah,
Yeah. A lot of times it is camp, but it also could be a mission project or
sure.
Obviously VBS and things like that. But there's maybe that's something that could be started in the summer.
Yeah, and Vacation Bible School is always fun. And we're going to have some nights and stuff here for our Vacation Bible School this year.
Yeah, ask Christy if she ordered any costumes for me to wear. But
you're going to be a knight in shining armor to Elizabeth. You don't.
I just wanted to be the king because I just wanted to walk around with a turkey leg in my hand all day.
You put a crown on, people think you're a king.
Renaissance fair.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Well, good. Well, we want everyone to have a great summer and hope it's a restorative time, a time of a little leisure and getting out. And maybe this year we sat around too much, this last year or so. So maybe it's a year of getting out and to go and do and just spend some good time. But hopefully you're, recreation, that word is recreating.
Right.
So hopefully you're recreating some good memories and some great things in your life. And we're ready to keep rolling as soon as the weather gets a little cooler. So, but definitely keep listening to the podcast because we're going to be around doing that, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Well, guys, thanks for podcasting with me.
Well, it's been a warm joy.
A warm joy.
I did not get a sunburn doing this podcast, so
that's good.
But I was like John Wesley, and I was strangely warmed.
Never mind. And thank you all for listening and joining us this week on Northside Now. Make sure you visit our website, northsidejackson.com. Check us out on Instagram at northsidejackson. And shoot us an email at podcast@northsidejackson.com. We'd love to hear from you. Also, make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button. And while you're at it, if you find this show to be informative and or entertaining, consider rating us on whatever platform you're listening to us on. And if you just tell a friend about the show, that would greatly help us. So once again, this is Patrick.
This is Glenn.
And this is Kevin.
And that's what's happening at Northside Now.
Bye-bye.